we are at Elite Exhausts and Fabrications in Brendale. So Elite Exhausts and Fabrications is owned by Dan, who is right here. And then we've got Brendan on the side here. You probably haven't met Brendan, but Brendan and I have a history. We've been friends for a long time, and he usually has really cool S14s. So I'll give you guys a bit of a tour of this one in a minute. However, let's have a chat with Dan and check out his rather unique R32. What can you tell me about your 32, Dan?
So it's 1.5J. That went in sort of end of last year. DJZ built engine. G45 now, which we've only put on the last couple of months. 2400s, hyper-tune gear on it. It's got a link in it. Just went to auto beginning of this year, so it's now, we went away from the T56, went down to a glide. Just where the car is and what we do with it, manual just isn't fast enough in the gear changes. Like to do roll racing and those sort of activities. And
is it Marrakesh brown?
No.
What's the colour? Full custom?
So it got painted like 6 years ago. It's a stuff up. It was meant to be a completely different brown, and then the painter kind of painted a door and called me over and had a look at it, but it's literally just a made up thing. It sort of goes really dark at night time, and during the day it's almost like a gold.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a crazy colour. It's like super like bronzy gold, but then really dark.
Everyone asked me whether it's Marrakesh brown. What was the colour you said it was?
Toyota Tundra.
Toyota Tundra. There's a brown in the Toyota Tundra too, but no, the Marrakesh is actually darker than this.
So I've kept it pretty all original with the body.
Yeah, it's just trusses, pods. It's got like M1 skirts. I've just put GDR bar on it. Got a vented bonnet, carbon bonnet sheet, so just ended up putting that on it as well. But yeah, I'm not a giant stance person, body kit wise. Used to have a drag wing on it, and it just looked way too pull me over and touch me appropriately.
It's still, I'm sure, very eye-boggling for anyone that's going to pull you over in this. Pops the bonnet and sees that.
Touch wood, I haven't been pulled over in 6 years in it.
Oh wow.
So I'm hoping that we can continue this tradition of not having to stress about, I mean look, it's 98% legal, it's mod plated, it's got, the half cage, the seats, the suspension, the engine, the gearbox, like everything is mod plated to suit.
Oh, you need an external gate with a J, they just sound magical.
You have to, 100%.
Run me through, what do you got? So we've got your
2J bottom end,
yep,
1J head. I ended up getting a 2J bottom end cheap from a mate of mine. We thought we heard the 1J out of rolls, turned out there was nothing wrong with it. DJZ Derek, he has built the engine for me. We ended up doing billet mains, brand new crank, because the crank that was in the 2J was cactus. Already had the head 272 camshafts, already had all fruity bits in it, so I kind of kept it rather than go straight 2J. But looking back now, considering I bought plenum and changed manifold and everything, should probably just kept the 2J.
That's pretty cool though. Does it have the R35 quarter pack conversion?
Yeah. Still got the high stalks on it. The short, we used the high stalks because it had standard covers on it.
Yep.
Then we went down to the hyper-tune billet covers. Brandon's done it on his and got the shorter ones.
So these is what he's talking about here?
Yeah.
So you guys aren't.
So they're the hyper-tune billet covers, and obviously the factory cover, hence why it's got no front cover either, because the standard covers sit nice and tall.
And you were telling me yourself and Brendan have ran the first kind of prototypes of these covers for JZX.
Yeah. So we got these a couple of years ago. There was nothing available. Hyper-tune ended up actually making them for a friend of mine, and they did the inlet manifolds Hyper-tune as well. It was sort of the first run of the 1J stuff. They had 2J stuff available, but no non-VVTi 1J, which is obviously what that head is.
Yep.
The car started years ago as just, it was going to be just a simple 1J with 500 horsepower, and that kind of just snowballs as everyone does. And now 1,000 is pretty much the norm now.
So what is this running?
So at the moment, since we put the Glide in it, so I made a 1,020 something with the T56. It's now, we turned it back up to just over that with the Glide. I think anything after that is a sheer dick swing. I think it really, look, until you drive a car with even an auto that makes 800 horsepower, you will realise on the street you do not need it. Yes, it's fun if you can get it down. I'm kind of now limited. Again, ECU was put in it, it's got a G4 in it. We just put it in there to suit the sort of 650-ish that I was happy with. And now we've tapped that out by, we've got coolant pressure, coolant temp, individual EGTs, got a Motec expansion box in it. It's now 2400s, all pressure, all temp, fuel pressure, fuel temp, all the gearbox sensors, shifter sensor, went cherry sensor on the diff for speedo. I'm currently having a chat with my tuner, Matt Ashley. He's been there since day dot, done an amazing job. We're now talking Motec. So then we can run a few more bits and pieces, but it also then allows me to put traction control on it to hopefully be able to use 1,000 on the street. Yeah, from what I've been told, it's night and day once you go traction control, so.
I like it.
It's different.
If you guys are already veterans of the channel, you'll know that I am currently doing a JZ conversion in a 32 as well. So this is really, really cool for me to see. It's really cool to see the clearances, how high the motor is going to sit, how far back you can get it, how much clearance you have for the cooling, the manifold. Oh god, do I even want to look at the... Yeah, okay, no, the steering column's good. And you guys...
Look, you kind of start, we kind of start with anything that we do. If we do an engine conversion, is engine as low and as far back as you can.
Yeah, you want to get it as far behind the strut tails as you can.
Tail, that's right. The other thing is, when it comes to, from what, I mean, I've been doing this for a while now, from what I see with a lot of conversion stuff is, yes, there is stuff available on the shelf.
Yeah.
A lot of on the shelf stuff is made to accommodate, standard heater lines, and which is great in a certain extent. When you go down to then trying to cool stuff, you got to run these tiny little fans. Fans have got to go on the front. Cars have nothing but heating issues.
Yeah, especially with J's too.
And any sort of your RB stuff, and I mean even SR jammed into small things, and we kind of try to set an engine up to allow for a big set of fans, so that it will work, and then kind of build everything around it. Brendan's really cool. Exactly the same. Done exactly the same with his engine sat way too far forward, couldn't run a set of fans. Yep. I mean the AUs, they work amazing.
Oh, they're so good.
Spells are good, but I mean AU fans for the $200 you spend, they suck so much air.
There's a 3600 CFM, I think they are. That's crazy. Like even some of the best spells, you're looking at like 1200 a fan, so it's like 2400. So really cool that you don't have too many heat dramas with a turbo that freaking big. No. God damn.
Yeah, G45. It's a Pulsar turbo. There's no, as much as people think when you run a business that you just have all this money to burn, some people do, 100%. I'm not one of those people. I've still had to save up for stuff and barter things and, make deals with people. Yeah. It's amazing. I've had my 42 was a Pulsar. I had never had an issue with it. We went bigger turbo because we needed more wheel on the back. And again, for $1,600, I know that there's purists out there, and yes, if I could afford a $6,000 Garrett, I would. I just can't justify it.
Correct me if I'm wrong here, but wasn't Pulsar a collaboration or an effort by the Australian side of the Garrett and Honeywell, I think, that broke up, and then Pulsar was created from some of the guys that split from those guys?
I couldn't tell you exactly. I know that...
Chat, leave it in comments for us. Who knows the story behind this, like details?
I know that there's a video on YouTube. There's a guy that pulls two of these apart, a genuine one and a Pulsar. Yep. And about halfway through the video gets confused about which caused which.
I'm hearing a lot of really good things about Pulsar. Like they're a new brand. off the shelf. Well, they've only been around a couple of years, but yeah, I haven't heard anything bad about them yet.
I haven't heard anything bad about them. And I mean, yes, China parts, I get it, don't get me wrong. But at the end of the day, if I break a $1,600 turbo, I would be less upset than if I blow up a $6,000 turbo.
Both.
You know?
Definitely.
So, yeah. It's one of those things, you kind of compromise with some stuff.
How many people do you get, like the purists that are like, oh, a Toyota and a Nissan?
I've had a few people that have been upset. I had one guy when we did cars and coffee, he got angry at the fact that I hadn't put a 26 or a 2530, or to the point where we were halfway through conversation and he literally just stormed off. I mean, look, he drove like a legit 32 GDR concourse, all original thing. I get it, I completely understand it. But at the end of the day, if everyone built a car to suit, you know, what other people wanted, it'd be a very boring world.
Oh yeah, we'd have no originality, we'd have no creativity.
Boring world.
Oh man, I love triggering GTR owners. They're very elitist. They're nice people, and I've got many a GTR friend, but my god, they're fun to stir up.
They're another.
They're another breed.
Another breed of people. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, very basic. Very basic.
That's what you want if it's still retro.
It can deal with it. I went with all of this stuff and the go fast bit, and the interior bit's just. I've kind of left it as it sort of is. Put a set of seats in it. It's got a half cage. I feel sort of safe having a half cage at least.
Yeah. Especially running the amount of power you're running.
1,000 plus. If it goes wrong, it's going to go wrong really quickly. But yeah, no, shifter. Just ended up, you know, putting it back underneath the standard cover, just so that it kind of looks stock. But yeah, besides that.
How many Ks did the chassis have on it when you decided to do all the work?
80, I think, on it.
Okay.
I think it had about 180. When I pulled the engine out, I think I had that at about 230. Because I mean, the J stuff we've only done the last couple of years. I drove around as an RB20 powerhouse for years. It was my daily carb folder RB20. Couldn't pull, you know, the skin off a custard if it tried. So, it's a lot of rotors all around now. Just got some good pads in there.
I like that you just stuck with 32 GDR wheels.
Yeah, I picked them up the other week.
Oh, nice.
Just street car.
What was on it before?
I've got they're over there against the board. When we go out, I've got a set of just 18-inch fronts and then some 15s on the back with 275 Mickeys.
Damn, like 18s on front, 15s on rear.
They just hang out a little bit too much for, yeah. So I try to just drive just sedate street car, and then if we go hit the track, you know, just change back wheels over, change front wheels over, done.
It looks totally unsuspecting as well. You would never think, well, I personally wouldn't pick this to be a 1,000+ horsepower car, just going off your wheel choice.
Just looking at it, yeah.
Like these, I think the factory wheels were
exactly
8.5.
What we're going for.
Yeah.
Exactly what we're going for.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, we just got a big set of, trialing out 275s, had a 255 on it. So we've now just gone to 275s.
Okay.
So yeah.
Damn.
Hit roll racing up on the 26th of this month, so see how it sticks with a big tyre under it.
Sweet.
Just try the same at the rear end. Still standard R200 for now. Well, it's a 33 diff, it's not a 32. It's still got the shafts out of the skyline in it. So 1993. It's copped 1,000 now for 2 years, and I've never broken anything. Touch wood.
Hell yeah. Brendan's S14 Series 1 Zenki.
It's red.
Is it factory red?
Yes, factory red. It's been resprayed. Yeah, so it's got a J in it, obviously.
We're going to give him a look at your handiwork. He's fabbed pretty much all this himself. By all this I mean manifold, jump, exhaust, mounts maybe?
Yeah, mounts, everything.
Yep.
Catch can, mounted the radiator, mounted the engine as far back as possible.
You've done a bit of a wire tuck too?
So the whole car's been completely rewired, so it has a Motec PDM that controls all the body loom stuff. So no fuses, no relays.
You reckon I'm rich?
It runs a M-Tron ECU. It's got a keypad, Haltech dash.
32 GDR seats.
32 GDR seats. We got the keypad in the middle there.
Very nice. Oh man, I was looking with my 14. I was looking at the center consoles for these a while back.
Yeah.
They are so hard to find, like unbroken, and for a reasonable price. Work motions. You love these wheels. I saw these originally on his old. He had a Kooky, a white.
Kooky, yeah, black Kooky.
White. Well, it was white, then went black, and then.
Yeah. Then went black with purple, and then it went black. Yeah, they look good on this sort of style. So.
And what's your Euro? For the guys that are obviously going to ask about this wing, what is this wing?
It's a Eurus drag wing.
Very cool.
So it's yeah, pretty cool. It looks a bit different. Vertex rear bar, Vertex skirts, and then just a standard front bar.
Now, what's the history you were talking about with the car? You said you got it for a pretty good price, and you've pretty much pulled the old setup out.
Probably just over 2 years ago now. It was a bit rough, very rough. Had an SR in it.
You guys reckon it's still rough?
It's
beautiful. Yep.
Yeah, it had an SR in it. It was a car that was well known by a few people, and yeah, I just started tearing into it and realizing more and more stuff was. Decided to go with a J.
Nice.
T56, direct clutch, twin plate. Just tried to make it as bulletproof as possible while keeping it a fun, angry, nice sounding car.
Yeah, I was gonna say it has a very angry idle. What size cams did you go?
So they Kelford 272, 278s.
Okay.
So lose a bit of response and a bit of power, but it's worth it in my opinion.
You get the drivability that you're after.
Yeah, so it's got drive-by-wire now, so we've got a lot of drive.
I did notice that. I was like, holy crap.
Yeah. So no more cable. So.
It's very tidy setup. How's your clearance? Beautiful. Way better than the 32. A lot more room to work with, but you do have a very fancy looking manifold. Now, did you design both the manifolds on these cars?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about this manifold compared to the 32's manifold. What's the main differences? I wanted to do
something a little bit different than your average sort of high mount that everyone does. So kind of drew some inspiration from a few guys in the States. But yeah, I've made this so that you can get to a socket on every single nut. And yeah.
And is it a steam pipe manifold?
Yes. Ceramic coated.
I was going to say, yeah, is it coated and anything?
Yeah,
it looks really
it's
cool.
got a thermal coating.
Very cool. What turbo did you go?
So it's a G35 900 Pulsar turbo. They work, they're good, they're cheap. So yeah, we make just shy of 650 on 26.5 pound.
Jesus.
So, yeah, it's fun. The standard diff hates it, but
I was gonna say, have both of you guys had a little fun at all before?
Oh yeah.
Dan?
Yes. Never.
The sneaky laugh in the corner.
Only in Mexico.
Okay, so who has the traction issues more than the other?
I think they're both much of a muchness, really.
Yeah, a lot of issues.
Yeah.
A lot of issues.
There is
well, you're traction control now, so.
Yeah, I've got wheel speed sensors, traction control, all the fruit, so, but I don't use it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because you used to do a bit more drifting than what I'm assuming that you do these days. What's the car built for? Like, what do you do with it now?
Cool street car.
It's a cool street car?
I may drift it eventually, but for the moment I'm just enjoying driving it.
I think we all get to that stage somewhere in life where we build all the Fast and Furious, not the Fast and Furious, not the literal, okay, not the movie. We build the fast cars, we build the crazy time frames, and we drive them like maniacs. And then you get to that stage where you're like, I'm gonna settle down for a while.
I had a Kooky, it got abused, it got driven hard, it had a built SR, it was great. It was wonderful. It had 12 months of hard driving non-stop. Never broke on me, it was great. But I decided I didn't want to have a heap of fiberglass over fenders, like be worrying about busting stuff every time I go for a drive in it. So yeah, I wanted to just build something a little bit cleaner, a little bit more streetable, so yeah.
Alright, so I got a question for you, Dan.
Yes.
Yes.
Fire away.
What is your favourite feature about your 32? Like, or a story. Give me a story. Something most memorable if you think of that 32. What's the first thing that comes to mind?
People I've met through it.
Yeah. So
I
the
think
connections?
it's the connections of like friends I've made, whether, you know, that's people through the workshop, or whether it's, you know, when we do roll racing, or we go out for a night for some type of cruise, or, you know, I've met a lot of friends by simply having the car. I don't think it's so much the what it does, what it's capable of. I think it's more that, I think it's the friends you make in the scene, just genuine people, just genuine friends. I think that's a good part of what that is.
How about yourself, Brendan?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Like, you go out, you meet people, you find people that have similar interests, that just enjoy having fun. Like, there's no drama, it's just like down to earth, genuine people. It's harder and harder to find, but yeah, when you find the few people, it makes it all the more worth it.
What's the reason you got into cars, or the reason that cars are very important to you is not necessarily what they have in it or how much money you spend on it or what year model car it is, whatever. Oh, I got a GDR, who cares? It's the cars and the connections that you guys make
100%.
with the cars.
100%. Makes it far more enjoyable when you got like-minded people that want to do the same things you do. And, you know, like every single one of them has a different style of car.
Yeah.
You know, Supra, VL, Lambos, they're all just...
At the end of the day, you can all
same
tie it
thing.
together. So you guys are all car enthusiasts.
Yeah.
You're still...
Just some have bigger bank balances than some others.
Yeah. Someone good with their hands too.
True, very true, very true. Very true.
Some of them they like fuses and relays and just...
Some guys are just suckers for punishment. Whitey, we're looking at you, bro.
feel attacked.
Dude, you gotta be someone special to do auto electrician.
Oh no, I don't get paid. It's free labour.
It's all for the love of it.
Yeah, that's a huge thing I think as well. You gotta really love the cars to do the jobs like this. Like, it's not the best paying job in the world, but it's definitely a passionate
You have
one.
good days, you have bad days. Like, it's very much the same as any other job, but it's what you do, it makes it enjoyable.
It takes a certain type of person to be, I guess, in the automotive game, as far as whether it's mechanical, whatever. I think there's certain people that see it as a job, as a, you know, 8 to 5 and that's it. But then you've also got those people that, you know, like, we can do this all day and then still play cars afterwards, go out on weekends. Whereas there's also people that I know that are mechanics that are literally at 5 o'clock, shut down, that's it, don't want anything to do with cars. It's literally just a job.
I wanted to give the viewers a bit of a look into you guys, so what you do for work and why this is so important and passionate to you guys. So could you give us a little run through of Elite Exhaust?
So I started Elite, we've just hit 5 years. I've sort of always been, I actually wanted to be a mechanic straight out of school. They had no positions available. Rob Liss had a exhaust apprenticeship back then. Thought I'd give that a go. Did a few years there, then I went over with Les and Scotty at Fat Pipes. I did nearly 5 years there and learned a lot of stuff. Custom headers, which is sort of my little forte that I like to do. I've got a Cortina coming in, it's got a new 7.3 Godzilla blown thing in it. We've got a Mustang, it's got a 351 in it, we've got to do a set of headers on. Chev, there's a Chev pickup, small block Chev, which we're going to do headers and a dual on.
So you get a lot of like very custom, everyone's pride and joy, it's these kind of things. So
It's a niche little shop. It wasn't where we are today is not where I set out to be.
Yep.
But over the last couple of years, it's grown. It's all word of mouth, and it's sort of just snowballed the last 5 years to now. You know, we take on stuff like the bigger things of engine conversions. 70% of the work is more exhaust stuff, whether it's headers, catback, turbo backs, jewels, you know, custom turbo manifolds, that sort of things. But then we do gearbox cross members and engine mounts and engine conversions, and we can do a fuel system. We just try to make stuff like, if somebody does a high mount conversion, say on a Falcon for instance, we try to then offer a service where, yes, we can strip, we can fit a high mount, whether we fabricate it or the customer supplies it, do oil lines, water lines, dump, intercooler pipes.
Would you have any advice for anyone out there that's looking to get into the automotive field? Something you tell yourself 5 years ago when you first started?
As in businessy wise?
Anything.
Look, it's a hard slug. There's no such thing as an easy dollar. I'm sure there is when it comes to certain types of businesses, or your cryptos, and you're buying and selling cars and you're making money out of it. As far as starting a business, you can read as many books and listen to as many people as you want and try to do the best you can from the get-go, but it's a giant learning progress. Like what works for somebody else may not necessarily always work for your workshop. So as you sort of grow, you learn new things about getting employees, which at the moment is finding the right person is really difficult. I think everyone in the automotive game is the same.
And what do you, because obviously we might have a couple of young viewers out there that may look to get into this kind of trade in future. What is something that you would give them as advice if they're walking into this kind of shop? Like, don't come in and go, hey, I want a job, or I'll rep your stuff. Like, what do you want to see in the next generation?
Look, the next generation, I think the internet obviously has, the holidays and the people traveling around the world, and yes, I completely understand that, and that is obviously certain people want to do that. As far as this kind of stuff goes, it is hard work. You get filthy, you have good days, you have bad days, but generally speaking, I think in this, going back to meeting people, I think it's a great place to meet people in the automotive industry, because everyone is very like-minded.
Yeah. Just be eager to learn and passionate.
Pretty much, be passionate about it. It's not going to be sunshine and rainbows on day one. You will start with you will be emptying bins. It's part of that process. The more eager you are to learn, and if you can show that to your employer, the quicker you will, I guess, move up and learn new things.
Yeah.
Questions. Always ask things. Don't just stand there and think that somebody's going to feed you information. They will to an extent, but ask questions about things. That way they can see that you're eager to learn.
Yeah.
And they'll give you that step up of, this kid is actually keen to get into this industry here. Let him have a go at this. Let him have a go at this. I think that's how you go. Don't just stand there and expect things to be given to you, because that's not how it works. Something cool as a background to take pictures off. And
you guys notice?
Yeah.
That's cool. He put the turbo on the wrong side though.
Yeah, well that was when I had RB20 in it.
Okay, that makes sense.
The guy got done a long time ago.
You met Dan, you've met Brendan, and you've met Elite, I love the wave there, and you've met Elite Exhausts and Fab. If you guys need anything and you're local, be sure to hit these guys up and support your local businesses. They do a lot of really cool stuff. And if you're looking to get into the industry, then I'm sure there's something in this video that you could have learnt or that you can take on board and help you out in future. Alright, so we can jump in. Brendan, come jump in. I like doing this. It makes people awkward. Okay.
What if Dan just goes down?
I'm standing on the hoist here. I hope you guys enjoyed the vlog. Check them out, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.